Welcome back to the KDPG Sunday Edition. In the past, we have spent a great deal of time on this program talking about the problem of opioid and alcohol addiction and how to conquer it. This morning, we are looking at this challenge through the eyes of Pittsburgh Penguin two-time Stanley Cup champion Kevin Stevens, who became addicted to opioids. He is now a special assignment coach with the Pens, who has founded an organization called Power Forward to help those who are addicted and their families. His organization has a partnership with Family Links, a Pittsburgh nonprofit organization. And we are joined now by Danita Benjamin Miller, Director of Behavioral Health with Family Links. Danita, thank you so much for joining us this morning on the KDPG Sunday Edition. I want to find out a little bit Family Links, but first, because we didn't get into it here, Power Forward. What are you trying to do with that?
PowerForwardNow.org, that's our website. It's just my sister and I kind of put this together. We have a radio show out in Boston we do on addiction. So it's just about reaching out and helping people. You know, it's kind of it's a great thing because we have the website, and we have the radio show, and a lot of people have reached out. And we've got them into rehabs and helped them ways and emails and talked to them. So it's just about really hope. Our whole show is about, you know, never die on the addict. Always there's always hope that, you know, I went to 4 or 5 rehabs, and at 50 years old I got it. So why did I get it? So I think there's always, you know, the biggest thing about our show is that we have great guests and we talk about hope and we talk about getting to the other side.
All right. And so how does Family Links work with Kevin's Power Forward?
Well, we believe in the mission of spreading hope. And so through prevention and education, we're able to collaborate with Kevin Forward and his organization to reach a wider audience, especially about the opioid addiction, and remove the stigma that exists in society, thinking that it's a socioeconomic issue or it's a race issue. It's a human issue.
Oh, do you have a... You know, obviously, we all know that there are addicts out there. How do you contact them? How do you get them to be in contact with your organization?
Well, we do it through outreach and education. We have a prevention program. We're across Allegheny County in several communities. We're also embedded in 20 different Pittsburgh public schools. We provide community awareness educational events, and we also collaborate with other organizations.
So Kevin's approach, how do you view that? Obviously, you must like it because you've joined with him about this, but you've seen other approaches taken, and Kevin's story is remarkable. He just admitted it took him a long time to reach that. Is that the kind of hope that you try to give to your clients?
Yes, we try to give the hope that anything can be possible, especially with recovery. It's just like what Kevin said. Your life can change in 10 seconds. It can also change for the good in 10 seconds by making a choice to make a change. Sometimes when you're experiencing an addiction, you may not know how to commit to change. Family Links, and along with Kevin Forward, want to help people walk them through those stages of change. So once they make the commitment, being able to take them through that journey.
So is Kevin's message a particularly powerful one in this community?
Yes.
Go ahead.
It's very authentic, and one thing I tell staff, therapists, anybody who wants to provide care to someone who is experiencing addiction, that you have to be authentic. You have to be able to understand, or at least have empathy to understand what it's like to experience an addiction. And with Kevin's story and being able to reach a wider audience and being able to relate to not just the everyday person that we perceive as addicts, but even people who have professional positions that may be afraid to come out and say they need help for treatment.
Is the pattern that Kevin had of repeated failure and then finally some success of willpower and faith and hope, is that a typical situation?
It is. Actually, I say addiction or recovery is never linear. It's almost like a roller coaster ride where you have the ups and you have the downs, but the ups outweigh the downs. And so faith, hope, and sometimes some failure and some disappointments is a part of that journey.
I think, the way she was talking, I think recovery is, for me, it's one day. I take 24 hours. Everybody talks about, you know, I'm in recovery, but if I don't do the work today to get to tomorrow, then I can be out of recovery tomorrow.
What's the work you have to do today, Kevin?
You know, I have to stay focused. I wake up every morning and remind myself that I am a drug addict, and I ask God for help, and I just get through, just to get me through the day, and just to remind me that, you know, I am this person that I can't put in a system. It's just to remind. It's almost like it's just like playing hockey. You get up and you have a routine every day.
Well, you've got 2 hockey playing sons. And tell us about your family and their reaction to all of this and the cost of this. And so.
Yeah, you know, it's tough on the old. Now it's great. And I was always part of my kids' life. I wasn't like I was living over there. You know, I was always there, but I wasn't always there, you know. But I tried to do the best I can do. But now life's so much better. My kids don't have to live on eggshells. They're happy, and you know, I'm consistent. That's the thing. That's the biggest thing. When you're to be accountable, you know, I'm accountable now. If I'm supposed to be somewhere, I'm being somewhere. If I'm supposed to do something, I'm doing it, and that's big for like me, and that's big for addicts because they don't live that way.
You brought up Kevin's family, and Danita, you can speak to this as well. Not necessarily Kevin's family, but you both have just admitted that people, you know, they go to rehab, they think they're going to do it, and the next thing you know, you're back doing it again. How tough is that on a family member, whether a spouse or a child?
It's very tough to want your family member to have success in treatment and then they experience a relapse. But I think the key is education to the family to understand that sometimes relapse does happen. However, it doesn't mean the end. And so support is essential. My father has 10 years clean in recovery, so I would attend family group and participate in his treatment activities. And he's a professional man. And during our group activities, some of the other members would say, wow, you're lucky to have a family member that supports you unconditionally. On the other end, some of my other family members wasn't so receptive, so it took time. So teaching family members to how to just be forgiving and understanding that this is a disease. Most people do not see it as a disease. It affects the brain. It's a biopsychosocial disease.
This is not a character flaw. This is a medical disease, right?
Yes, and it's just like what Kevin said, knowing that what your predisposition for. He said, the genetic makeup that he was unfamiliar with, and sometimes do exist in all of us. So it's really important to educate clients about their family history. So we do a genogram. They say, okay, what happened? Let's go back 3 or 4 generations to see what you may be predisposition for.
So Kevin, some other person who could have taken that last bit of cocaine might not have become an addict.
Right.
Not at all, because it might not affect them the way it affected me. It affected me in a way that I didn't know that night it was going to affect me. I had no idea that night would change my life for this.
Now, you were a 28-year-old hockey player. You never had a drink?
No, I drank, but I never put it in front of anything. I drank beers with the guys. You know, I did.
But you were
never did a drug in my life. Never.
But you were not an alcoholic.
No, I didn't think I would. You know, I never put it in front of anything. I never felt like, you know, alcohol was a problem till, you know, then when the drugs came along, then I started putting in front of things. I started losing things. I started doing things that I didn't really want to do.
I want to get to something else right after this particular question, but Danita, Kevin says that finally he reached a point where it was almost mind over matter. Is that the thing that really happens with people who are in recovery?
Yes, it happens. It's just making a mental decision to say, okay, I want to change. Now, knowing how to change, that's part 2.
Right.
But just making the commitment to change and being open to help.
Well, we talked about family members being open to help and understanding things. Kevin, tell us, we don't have that much time, maybe about a minute and a half here. The Pittsburgh Penguins and Mario Lemieux, how has that relationship been? Because you worked for them and then you messed it up.
Yeah. No, I messed it up all right. Yeah, I did work for him a few years back, and you know, it was when I was still kind of stuck in this addiction. But, you know, Mario's been great. You know, he's one of those guys that he likes to have his friends around, which, you know, I've always been there with Mario's always been there for me. You know, he sent me a plane one day to go to rehab from Boston. You know, he tried to help me that way. He tried to help me in a lot of ways, and he's hung in there. And, you know, to have a job right now with the Penguins, I feel very fortunate, very lucky. You know, and even with Mr. Rutherford, that's probably the only guy I didn't know in the organization. He stuck his head out there to give me a job and have trust in me, and you know, that means a lot to me. You know, Mario stuck with me for a long time and through a lot of tough times, and he's always been there. So I can't thank him enough in the organization. You know.
All right. Kevin, Danita, thank you so much for being with us this morning on the KDPG Sunday edition. David and I will be back with some final thoughts in just a moment.